Top Story with Evans Mensah.
And Top Story is always brought to you by Vodafone and also by Prime Insurance. He is seeking to dethrone former President John Dramani Mahama, who led the National Democratic Congress to defeat in the 2020 elections. And it is becoming clear that the former finance minister and governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Kwabena Duffuor, is throwing everything at it. He has, in the last 24 hours, been questioning the party's efforts at reorganizing for the elections in just over 2 years. He has been disclosing how party executives at the branch levels have been left poor and not being paid. He yesterday launched an initiative to fix what he believes is broken about the NDC, and he called it the NDC Ahoto Project. He will be investing 8.25 million cedis of his personal wealth to create jobs and pay NDC executives and loyalists working for the party across all 275 constituencies across the country. Well, we will hear shortly from the NDC national chairman, Samuel Fusu-Ampofo, who had traveled with former President John Mahama to the U.S. last month to meet with party loyalists there. On that trip, he's been patting the national executives, including himself, on the back for doing a fantastic job with the reorganization of the party since the defeat in 2020. But first, listen to Dr. Kwabena Duffuor, who disagrees that reorganizing job has been fantastic so far. He claims the party cannot be reorganized only with talk.
We are going for elections in 2024. Looking at the situation we are in now, if we don't change, you and I, we may have to travel. It is not easy. But if we take this work seriously, 2024, we are going to win. That's the real reorganization. You reorganize with resources. We don't reorganize with talking alone. You talk and spend the resources to move the party forward. But I like it. This is real reorganization. And Ashama, you are number one. Now, we have decided to spread this throughout the 275 constituencies. It's doable. People go to space, don't they? Why can't you do this in 275 area? It's very, very simple. If they're able to go to space, it should be possible for us to cover all the 275 constituencies. And then our opponents, they will see. We are turning NDC to be a business party. Spill, you are right. With the support, the NDC is going to be a first-class business party in Ghana.
So for him, his initiative is the real reorganization. What about that which has been led by the national executive? So that's the view from Dr. Kwabena Duffuor about the NDC reorganization job so far. Now, listen to the national chairman's view on the same issue. He tells party loyalists in the U.S. that the reorganization job has been flawless so far. This is just last month.
After we lost the election, we did not sleep on our hours. We have been working very, very hard. We've crisscrossed the country. We have undertaken a major retreat to review the election and to see our strengths and weaknesses and try and address the challenges that, confronted us during the elections. We have subsequently done regional retreats. We have done youth retreat. We have done women retreat. We have analyzed the results. We have virtually done everything to prepare ourselves strategically moving into the 2024 elections. And I want to assure you that recently we also engaged in national outreach programs which has taken us to 15 out of the 16 regions. We are left with Eastern region. When we go back, we'll go and complete Eastern region. And then the Party National Executive Committee will be meeting to draw up the timetable for reorganization of the party from the branches through the wards, through the constituencies, through the regions, and eventually conduct our national elections for national officers.
So for Dr. Kamnando, for his reorganization is what he calls the real reorganization. You heard the national chairman there talking about what they've done so far to reorganize the party. And he was clear they've worked very, very hard to do everything, in his own words, to get the party ready for the next elections. And that clearly it's one that throws up a lot of questions about where the party executives, national executives stand on their own efforts as against what Dr. Kamnes Dufour's own verdict is on this. And as we're now learning, he's not only, as he says, reorganization about only talk, he is putting a bit of money where his mouth is himself. My colleague, Kweku Asante, was at the event in Ashaiman where Dr. Kwabena Dufour was speaking as part of his real reorganization move. So this NDC Ahuto project, what is it? I mean, you are the event. Did he have the support of the national executives, and were they there to support this particular project to give it a very national NDC character?
So Evans, at this event, there was no elected NDC national executive. The only executive officers who were there who were elected were the Ashaiman constituency officers. But in terms of the broad national party, they were not. But it's interesting some of the people who were there with him. Dr. Ekos Piogabra, former communications minister. Fritz Bafor, also a former communication minister and MP for Ablekuma South. Horace Ni Ankra, a former deputy ambassador to the Republic of China. And so these are all party officials, but not elected officials. Those are not the people representing the party now. And so he is saying that he is doing this on his own. It's not an
so
official.
This is his own.
His personal project. He's investing 8.25 million cedis in all 275 constituencies. He's giving all the constituencies 30,000 Ghana cedis to do something of their own to generate money for the grassroots. But the party officials, from some of the things they've been telling us, this is not something that the party has endorsed, and this is something that has come to the table. They'll be looking at it in the future, but it's not an official party thing for now.
Let's talk about this project, this initiative he launched yesterday, and is spending almost more than 8 million cedis on this. It appears that he himself has been touring the country. And no wonder he calls this or his initiative the real reorganization. What did he find that seemed to have inspired him to do this?
So he says he's been going around the country and he's been seeing something that is damning about the NDC's reorganization efforts. He says, for instance, party officials at the grassroots levels, the branch executives, polling station executives, they've all been left destitute, some of them looking for money. They are not getting it. Some people who fall sick cannot even rely on the party. And so he tried to put this together to get the party on a stronger footing at the grassroots level.
Ahuto is the real deal. Ahuto for progress. Hallelujah. Ahuto jobs and sustainable revenue for NDC. That Ahuto will generate some revenue. Part to be used to solve the problems in Tony's office. Part for welfare. Obi Payari or hospital. Only 500 cedis per Olibi. 500 faculty amano. NDC. Ediabri. Sajumai. Ebeko Babia. Ama. I went round and I heard all these sad stories. Our executives in the branches are not being paid, are they? Money doesn't come in, but money goes. We want to create a situation where there will be money in the party's coffers in every constituency. In doing this, the NDC is going to be a very strong party. And so be a fish, we the fish. Get the fish amount. Or the amount only hope you are very. This particular project is going to make you fishers yourself, not getting money from anybody all the time. Tony? No. So by next year, this time, most of our constituencies will have their businesses. And through that, you will learn. NDC, we are going to do that with Ahuto. Ahuto in English is what? Relief. Obia Hobetono with this project.
And you mentioned earlier that he was there with some other, party individuals, people who are stalwarts of the party, including Espio Gabra, who is a former trade minister, who himself stood in an attempt to take John Mahama's own flag bearership slot the last time. He also has a view that agrees definitely with Dufour's view that the NDC needs a bit of a shift from where it currently is when it comes to businesses.
Right. So he says the NDC is seen as a party that is anti-business. And so projects like these that Dr. Dufour is embarking on is what will reinvigorate the party base and also give the party some sort of good image.
But one day you understand why God didn't make you president. One day you understand why.
We'll get you that echo Spio Gabra's sound right now.
As the chairman of the NDC Business Development Committee, the committee's objective, which is what can we do in the NDC to change the image of the NDC from what some people think is not a business-friendly party to one that is more business-friendly. I don't know whether you are aware that is one of the biggest problems facing NDC as a party. People think we are anti-business. It is still prevailing till today. So if somebody rises in NDC, such as Dr. Dufour, who says, look, I've got a good and brilliant idea. Why don't I make some of my resources available to the party, to foot soldiers, at a time of difficulty in the Ghanaian economy, when the government of the day doesn't know what to do?
So that's Dr. Kospio Gabra. He was there at this event to lend his support to Dr. Kwamina Dufour. Let's bring in a man who is very close to this initiative himself. He has obviously been around this initiative. He's in the person of Wakefield Akwaku, spokesperson for the Ahuta project, and joins us on the telephone line right now. Hello, Wakefield. Thank you for your time here on Top Story.
Yes, hello.
Thank you for having you. So quickly, Wakefield. So this 8 million CDs, is it from Dr. Kwamina Dufour's own personal resources?
Yes, thank you again for this opportunity. Dr. Dufour, as you are all aware, is capable of raising this. It's from his own initiative. And he has well-wishers. He has people who see into the kind of vision he expresses. Don't forget, this is a man who is business inclined. And so he's able to bring people together to forge one strong forward move to help the NDC in such ties. So it is an initiative that he has spearheaded, and he has been able to raise funding for this project. And I think we must see it in that light.
We got a sense from when he spoke that this is inspired by what he saw, and apparently he toured the country. He did tour the country? He toured the party's arms and organs across the country?
Yes, he's toured the country, and he's still touring the country. And a lot of the complaints that we receive come from the grassroots. Elections are won from the polling stations, which we call our branches. And a lot of them have been left as destitute. They find it difficult to make ends meet. And every now and then you find members, executive members of the party, asking for help from all well-meaning people in society, irrespective of which party the person stands for. So he looks at this and says, no, we must not continue in that vein. Whatever it is that has passed, let it pass. There's a new era that is dawning on us. And so he decides to go around and present certain items, 27,500 chairs to the NDC nationally, okay? Hello?
I can hear you, Wakefield.
Yes. 27,500 chairs, 1,100 marquee tents, sound systems, public address systems, to help the constituencies, the 275 constituencies, to be able to do something entrepreneurial. So that at the end of the day, he's not only doing that for entrepreneurial basis. No. Our party was founded on certain ideals: transparency, accountability, and probity. So we are inculcating all these things in our people as we move along, so that they've been given this. We will demand accountability, we will all see the transparency, and then at the end of the day, we will achieve probity with this project that he is doing.
How involved is the national executive structure in this initiative that he is implementing?
I believe they are very involved, because we informed everybody, all and sundry, about this project. And, let me even use myself, let me digress and use myself as an example. In my own small way, I've been helping the NDC in various constituencies. And when I'm making donations, I go to the constituencies, we meet with the constituency executives who are representing the national executives wherever we find them, and make sure we do things to help to ameliorate the situation of our own people. So the national executives are very involved. They are aware of this program.
Okay, so when you say aware, I mean, the NDC has a very clear structure and how things are done. I mean, this is branded as a NDC Ahoto project. I mean, does it, for example, have the buy-in, the direct endorsement of the national executive?
The national executive encouraged us to make sure that we strengthen the branches so that we will be very ready, battle ready for 2024. We are following their clarion call. We have done all internally what is there to be done. So I think we may even be belaboring this point when we go on it. The national executives are aware of this project. That is why we have launched the pilot. Mind you, we have 274 more constituencies to help. So as we go along, you see the involvement of many other players, not only Dr. Kwabena Duffuor.
I mean, Dr. Kwabena Duffuor, I mean, at this event, for example, I mean, this is an NDC event from all indications. The national NDC event is a national Ahoto project. At least you would expect that you have at least one national elected official there, to show the party unity behind this vehicle that you've just launched. We had nothing like that. Was that by design, or you invited people that they didn't just show up?
I don't think the absence of any of them spells party disunity. You see, you need to understand the structures of the NDC. At the end of the day, if we had gone with all the national executives, and then we didn't have the constituency executives present, would you have said we had a united event? The answer is no. At a given point, because we are reorganizing, you should know people are moving left, right, center, and making sure that we are putting all the pieces together. This is the initiative from Dr. Kwabena Duffuor to have the whole reorganization. And he's saying that in reorganizing, don't let us just talk. Let's walk our talk. Our people are seriously in need of help. Let us teach them to be fishers instead of fishing for them every time. So for him, this is the initiative. And I'm telling you again that the national executives are aware of this project.
Yeah, I mean, just a quick question. You're aware that the national executives are already embarking on their own reorganization. So when Dr. Kwabena Duffuor repeatedly says what he is doing is a real reorganization, and that reorganization cannot be done only with talk only, what does he mean?
For me, speaking for him, I may put it out of context, but it would have been best if he spoke to it. But my understanding of what he's saying is, listen, you go to someone, the person has an issue, and you come to tell the person, oh, wait, at another time, I will come and help you. Then another person passes by and is immediately interested in helping there and then. This is the difference. As far as we are concerned, the NDC is one united party, very strong, point for election victory 2024, and all and sundry are invited to get involved in any way they can to ensure that victory 2024 will not elude us. Yeah, this is what we are all doing.
I get you, but you admit that when you have the national executives and saying that they are reorganizing, and then you have Dr. Kwabena Duffuor saying, well, what I am doing is a real reorganization, that definitely creates problems. It creates an impression there that what the national executives are doing isn't the real reorganization his is, and that his has a real solution and not what they are doing. You concede that?
No, I don't concede that. What I'm telling you is, listen, the national executives said we are involved in a reorganization a little earlier. Just yesterday, Dr. Duffuor says, this is the real. So what does it tell you? It means the NDC is moving from one point to the other point. It's a journey. And trust me, we are on the journey properly. So if you've heard from the national executive saying we are embarking on a reorganization, and then we come back to reinforce that by saying, yes, it is said that we are on a reorganization, but this is the real one. It is only buttressing that point, supporting that point, to make sure that all and sundry realize there is the need for us all to be united to go forward.
So this is an 8 million plus intervention. Is it for the entire time before the elections, or this is for a particular period?
No, this is for the entire time before. I mean, it's going to go on and on. For us, this is just the beginning, because we are wooing all other well-meaning people who believe we must resource the NDC grassroots to come and add on. Dr. Dufo is not saying because he has done this, that is the end. No. If others also believe they have a bicycle each to give to all the constituencies, we are saying add it on. But at the end of the day, it's going to be under one entrepreneurial program for the constituencies, where we are going to expect to see some level of transparency, accountability, and probity at the end of the day, the ideals that the founder left us.
And clarify this for me. He says, for example, at the branch levels, party executives are not being paid. Will this now result in the monthly payment of executives?
So long as it's a business, so long as it is well run, it will bring in some revenue, wouldn't it? And when there is surplus, or this profits after business, most definitely there will be dividends that will be shared. So it is our belief that when the constituencies take this very seriously and they are able to generate something substantial, then the very things I'm telling you, the transparency, the accountability, and probity will lead to the distribution of dividends, which will look in a way like a remuneration of sorts. So this is the baby step we have taken, but we are sure we'll grow it.
And listen, Dr. Kwabena Dufo, we all know, is gunning to become the NDC's flag bearer for 2024. This is clearly part of his agenda to achieve that feat, is it not?
Unless you are telling me this is the first time Dr. Kwabena Dufo is contributing to the NDC, then I'll say that is it. But the man has been a solid financier behind the NDC. Many times, if you could consult the NDC, they'll tell you the loads of things he's been doing for the party. So it's just in his stride. It's nothing new. If he really wants to set the tone, if what you are saying is anything to go by and he wants to set the tone, I think this is a drop in the ocean for him.
Thank you very much, Wakefield. And Wakefield speaks for the Dr. Kwabena Dufo's NDC Ahota project that is going to invest 8 million cedis of his own personal wealth to help reorganize the party at the grassroots. And as I've indicated to him, we all know Dr. Kwabena Dufo is gunning to become the NDC's flag bearer for the 2024 elections. But he's facing stiff opposition because you may have noticed that his main opponent, when the chips are down and the race is finally open, will be John Dramani Mahama, who seemed to have family in his corner. A lot of the senior National Party executives. He traveled recently with the national chairman of the party, Samofuso Ampofo, who at this event with John Dramani Mahama addressing loyalists of the party in the USA, was clear that when it comes to the elections and leading this country, John Mahama, as far as he's concerned, is the one for this particular country. And he was been talking up John Mahama's own chances and ahead of the elections 2024.
But one day you understand why God didn't make you president this time. And at the appropriate time, the good Lord himself will put you on the throne. In fact, events after that has really proven that me too, if I establish a church, which will happen. Today, Ghanaians are crying for John Mahama to come back. And the biggest worry of Ghanaians is that, can we wait? And I keep on telling them that if you remember, during our campaign launch in Cape Coast Sports Stadium, I was offered a platform and I said something around that time. And I'll say it in chief. Say, Amamowe and this is Sanfu na your country. Now, Amamowe dear, so we cannot make a mistake. Now, to a bonny, now what the man on Mampenino Betranswa. We don't want to fear for 4 years. Whether you like it or not, you have to wait for the 4 years.
And so that's the national chairman of the party. His views on John Mahama is very clear that he believes, as far as he's concerned, Ghanaians are calling for him to come, to return and take up as what he left after one term. Let's bring in political scientist Dr. Ali Duseidu, who joins us on the telephone line right now. Doc, thank you for your time here on Top Story. And so Dr. Kwabena Duffuor is out there doing his own thing, raising questions about the reorganization approach of the national executives. He says what he's doing is a real reorganization. He's investing 8 million of his own personal resources, revealing, for example, that so far party executives at the branch levels are poor, not being paid. So he's fixing that. And, that obviously stands in contrast with what we just heard there earlier from the national chairman, who has been talking and patting themselves on the back for doing a fantastic reorganization job. I mean, he has a tough task going into this race to lead the parties. From what we heard there, appears the national executives and himself are not singing from the same hymn book as far as this race is concerned.
Yeah, thank you so much, Evan. I think some time back, I was asked to speak to the race between Kwabena Duffuor and John Mahama, and I made a categorical statement that it would be very difficult for Kwabena Duffuor to beat John Mahama in the NDC primaries. But I'm now a little bit reassessing that assessment with this launch of Apoto the project. Evans, one of the serious challenging political parties, especially NDC as a party position, is funding, especially at the grassroots level. The party rests at the grass, and they do a lot of work, especially social engineering work. That happens every day. Naming ceremonies, funerals, events, they have to sacrifice and give their own money to this thing. So if a project like that is able to empower and set up party at that level, it can cause a lot of upset to the John Mahama. Now, I agree that the party level and the national executives are still on the camp of there, but there's going to be a re-election process that will start from the grassroots. So from the ward to the coordinator, the electoral coordinator to the constituency to the regional, that will now elect those national executives, and then the eventual flag bearer. So if this project is able to be monitored well and implemented well and used for the purposes for which it is designed to achieve, there's a likelihood that mass may shift, the voting may reflect the change of the mass, and that will have a trigger effect at all levels of the party, even up to the national level. And if that happens, there's a likelihood that most of these people who are not supporting him may lose their their position. So if this is managed well, and the level of executive that the grassroots level executive, constituency level, don't mismanage this project and manage it well, and able to deal with the challenges that the party faces at that level, it can shift minds. But the other level has to do with the fact that at the national level, John Mahama still control that appeal and the love of people and the experience of being a flag bearer and the former president. Kwabena Duffuor is going to do that for the first time. He has been in the political for a long time, but not as a flag bearer trying to be president. So that may be the level of challenge the NDC will face. Even if he's able to triumph at the party level, the national acceptability and appeal and trying a new candidate that they don't know, given challenges that they have faced over the years, may be a little bit of worry. John Mahama is somebody who has been tried and tested at the national level. So much marketing at that particular.
I see the point you make there, that Dr. Duffuor is playing it bottom up, whilst you have what JM appears to be a top bottom approach, because he has all the leaders at the top appears to be in his corner. Dr. Duffuor says go to the grassroots, there is a lot of disenchantment, and so he's targeting the base. But then, as you have argued, the base, they form the bulk of the electorates, the delegates who will be deciding the fate in the primaries. And you say that he may have an advantage if the strategy is what he intends to pursue.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Because the decision to elect both the flag bearer and the national level starts from that particular level. So if this project works and he's able to shift mind, then it means that it will have a domino effect on all the levels of elections that will eventually elect the flag bearer. So if it's managed well, I think he can cause an upset. But the disadvantage with that, even if he is able to win at the party level, will he be able to survive at the national level? Because he's still relatively new, and people may want to even go with an old tested candidate than a relatively new candidate who they don't know how it's going to play out. So that's just a disadvantage. But let's see how it works. Because if this is managed, the effect may not be achieved. So it depends on how. It's a very good, well thought out plan aimed at empowering and capturing the grassroots. And that's the starting point. But if the constituency level executives who are left to manage this particular project becomes greedy and mismanage it, then he's going to lose a lot of money. And that may not, his ambition may not work on that as well.
I'm grateful. That's Dr. Aludusedu there, a political scientist with the University of Ghana. What are your own thoughts on this, especially if you are an activist, a loyalist of the NDC? You've seen clearly what Dr. Kwabena Dufo has been saying there, and his thoughts on the party's reorganization. What's yours? 055-1111-997. Ghana Connect starts after this.
Masa, yet two unlimited calls. Vodafone Red, so you know here. Jack, me too. No expiry with Vodafone Red. Yeah, star 200 hash, huh? I bab the move when you be what? Vodafone Red, no lie. Cocraft me top man do you be kasako e browse da. Vodafone Red, star 200 hash assistant. See dear, ye kasako no na ye browse. Star 200 hash gives you unlimited calls on Vodafone to Vodafone. More data, more talk time to friends on other networks. No expiry, and the best value at affordable prices. Vodafone Ready, dear, simply dial star 200 hash to choose a package that best suits you from as low as 1 Ghana cedi.
Vodafone. Because of rumors that insurance companies will only waste your time, I never bothered to make claims until one day I rear-ended a car and the owner wanted it repaired immediately. I called Prime Insurance, my insurers, and they walked me through how to get a quick police report to authenticate the accident, and voila, the victim got the due compensation for the damage I had caused to his car. No stress. Prime earned my trust that day, so I upgraded from third party to comprehensive. My advice? Get insurance today and get it from